Hi, my name is Keith Cooper from Northlight Images, and in this short video I'm going to look at a question I'm asked about quite often. Why did you choose a particular camera? And it's also partly about ideas for things to do when you're stuck and run out of things to photograph. Now, that happens to all of us. And many people often say, whoa, if I had a new camera, I'd go out and take more photos. Well, maybe you would. I'm going to say that apart from that brief rush of enthusiasm of playing with your new toy, it doesn't usually last. When it comes down to it, camera choice, who cares? Why do you pick a particular camera brand? Now, I use Canon. Have done for years, and there is a historical reason I use Canon cameras and a practical reason. Now, I'm not saying this is relevant for everybody, there's just a personal relevance. And next time you think about, oh, if only I got such and such a new camera, think about what difference it would really make. This is my first DSLR, a proper one. It's a Canon 1DS. Now, it's full frame camera. It came out in 2003 if I remember rightly, and it is all of 11 megapixels. Now, I've got the much newer Canon TSE 17mm tilt shift lens on it, and that lens there is one of the reasons that I still use Canon cameras a lot. Currently I use 5DS. If Canon get around to bringing out a mirrorless version of that, I've tested the R5, very good, but not perhaps for what I use enough of a big jump to make me ditch my 5DS and go and get an R5. Bring out a high megapixel version and I have some business reasons that I think could persuade me to think about getting one to replace my 2015 camera. This is a 2003 camera. It is 11 megapixels, and in holding it now I'm reminded of just how heavy it is. Now, this was never really a problem. 2003, I was 43 then. I'm not as fit and strong as I was back then, but I still wouldn't have a problem using this. You might think weight could be a problem for you. Certainly, I'd expect in 10-15 years time I will probably find this considerably heavier. Whether I'll still be wanting to occasionally use a 2003 camera is another matter altogether. That, and this is my last remaining working battery for it. They don't last forever. They will go. But that's historically, I got the camera, this particular camera, because at the time it was the only full frame camera really available, and also because of the lenses. I like wide angle lenses, and that's always been my reason for not having interest in crop cameras. Crop sensor cameras just didn't. There is one thing, it is not actually technically my first digital camera. That one goes to this one, which is the Olympus E20. This is about 5 megapixels, E20p. There are ergonomic aspects of using this camera that I still find very nice. It is a comfortable camera to use, but it was never going to cut it for doing my professional work. The 11 megapixels of this does. Now, I can take pictures of this now and I can process them and produce quite large prints because of advances in software. One reason always to keep your old RAW files. But there we go, that was my first proper digital camera. Now, that's getting on a bit as well. But Olympus didn't make anything that I thought, oh, I can stick with them. Now, before that, I'd used Olympus OM2, OM4 film cameras. And I liked the fact they were small, fully manual, great, used them. But that was before I took up professional photography. This is the first camera I had, the Canon, when I took up professional photography. It's about the lenses. So, I've done lots of other stuff, both videos and on the Northlight site, covering various aspects of how I use lenses and things. But what about new kit? What about other stuff? People say, oh, well, you're a Canon man. No, I am not. I refuse to be stuck with a brand in that way. It is a tool, and a tool that works very well. I recently tested another of the Nikon PCE, perspective control or tilt shift lenses, with a Z7, and I really like the Z7. It's a nice camera. I like using it. I very quickly picked up using it. It's great. I had no real difficulties. I did have to read the manual a bit, and there is the fact that Nikon lenses go on backwards, which you will quickly get used to. Incidentally, I would say that both the Nikon and the Canon, the RP that I'm using for I can use with old medium format lenses with an adapter. So that's an adapter for my R645 lenses, tilt shift adapter. That's one for Canon RF mount, and that's one for Nikon Z mount. The new cameras do let you use some of your old kit. I find that I'm happy still using the lenses, some of the lenses I got and used with this Canon 1DS, but the Canon 1DS itself is there for backup use only. I might get it out again and just have a look and see how it performs. Coming back to as I said, that malaise we all feel sometimes about I don't know what to photograph. Sometimes keeping your old cameras can be just a sort of kick you need to just go, right, I think I'll go out and shoot some pictures on this old camera here. Process them, print them, do something else. Just because it gets you taking pictures, and that's a problem I know a lot of people have. So I've said I like the Z7. Nikon's tilt shift range of lenses, the PCE lenses, is not as comprehensive as it could be, certainly not up to what I can use on the Canon one, and that tilts it a little bit in that respect, but not in a major way. If you've used Nikon for years, why change? You can use the FTZ adapter on the new cameras, and the new cameras work very well. Same as you can use the adapter on the new Canon mirrorless as well. Now, people say, but you never mentioned Sony. Well, I do have a Sony camera. It's a little small one about so big that I used to use years ago for taking snaps, keeping my pocket. It's long been surpassed by phone, so it doesn't really count. I would happily have a look at Sony cameras and lenses because from what I read and what I see, they're very good. I've got no solid reason though to go out and spend money because the differences are minimal. If one manufacturer comes out with something that you think is an important feature, hang on for a month or two and your other manufacturer will. It's a leapfrog process. So Sony stuff is great. I'm not particularly interested in video. I don't do video professionally. These are purely amateur efforts using my EOS RP here in the kitchen. I don't do it professionally. If I did do video professionally, I might reevaluate my choices, but I don't. I'm an industrial photographer, I'm an architectural photographer, and for my hobbies, I like landscapes, I like visiting old cathedrals and churches and things like that. None of this is really going to stretch things. So, bet some other cameras. I've tested the Hasselblad X1d, and that's really nice to use. Lovely design of camera, nice and simple to use, but the problem I would have with that is that it's money to spend and lenses to buy that I can't use anywhere else. Now I can use it, there are adapters and things like that, but that's a sort of camera that if you want that, if you like it, it's a great camera, it will give you some good results, but just because it's a Hasselblad, now that has some cachet, even with an old cynic like me, I still think, that could be good. I've used the Hasselblad X1d with a tilt shift adapter and things, absolutely superb, but I don't have the kind of work that would pay the money to make something like that worthwhile, and that's another reason. Remember that a new camera, there are two aspects really in a new camera if you're going to buy one. There is what you want and what you need. Want? Well, we all have stuff we want. What do you need? Does it really make a difference? Now, a lot of people come up with this idea that if I get a new camera, I'll go out and start taking more photos. Did that happen when you bought your last camera? How long did that last? Probably not that long. So you probably don't need a new camera. The one you've got is probably good enough. And if you're doing very specialized stuff and your current camera is not really good enough in that, then you have a definite need for something that you can look at. Now, I've not mentioned Fuji. Their medium format cameras look very nice. Once again, I'd happily have a look at them. So anyone from Sony or Fuji watching this video, please feel free to get in contact. I love experimenting with new cameras. It's one of my ways of getting over that sort of don't feel like taking the photos. Have a new camera. If I've only got a new camera for 2-3 weeks on a loan, I have to go out. I have to go and take photos. That for me can be just the sort of prod I need to go and do some stuff. Yeah. Like many other people, I've been at home an awful lot in the last year. My photography, I would say, has suffered from it, but I certainly get a yearning to go out and take photos more. And when it comes down to it, why shouldn't I? There is nothing stopping me at the moment. Now, I can't do some of the big travels I've done in the past, or I'm not inclined to, more to the point. But make use of what you've got. Go out and take some photos. A few other things that I suggest to people that are having that sort of stick, some projects. I hate the word projects for him. It has a sort of slightly pretentious air about it. No, it means taking some photos just for your own enjoyment. Or if you're a working photographer like me, it means something to fill your time because you haven't got enough work at the moment. Yeah, these things happen, particularly in current times. If you step back, look at photographs you've taken in the past. Look for some inspiration in stuff you've done before. Do you want to repeat that? Do you want to expand it? Do you want to try it in a different way? Once again, which camera you choose is unlikely to make a significant difference to that. Look at your old pictures. Look at, I've mentioned before, photo books. I get old photography books from second-hand shops and the like, and it just sort of gives me a nudge just looking at the pictures. I couldn't name 10 famous photographers. I'm hopeless with names anyway, but I remember photos. I don't remember the photographers who took them. Sorry, famous photographers, you'll have to expand your fame some other way on it. And the other thing that I always say to people is learn to print. It's made a phenomenal difference to my photography. Now, I've got loads of videos about printing and other stuff like that. But this really comes back to that question of, what camera should I choose? Well, whatever you feel like. It's about going out and taking photos. Now, in getting these out just to do out from the drawer, just to do this video, I'm already thinking of, what can I do with the 1DS that would be interesting? Just different. I'm even wondering whether I've still got the memory card reader to be able to read the memory cards that come out of this E20. Now, I'm almost certainly will have, since I keep drawers full of old useless junk. But this one is an interesting one. I may have a go with this one as well. Who knows? But the whole idea is to actually get out and take some photos. So hopefully that meandering approach to what camera should you get is of some interest. If it encourages a few people to actually go, yeah, I will go out and take some photos, then it has succeeded. Please feel free to ask questions on the comments. Feel free to subscribe to the channel. I've got all kinds of stuff on, technical stuff as well as just general photography. So thank you very much.